your computer audio.
I unmuted you.
Oh, okay. It works now.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's the first day I didn't have work.
Okay. So how is work going?
It's going good. I work at the grocery store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Marcus, are you there? Well, I see this big M.
I'm glad this one had a password.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Has anybody heard from anybody else in the class?
I heard from Sarah, but I don't know if she's in here.
Joe should be on soon.
Okay.
Dylan said he's sick, so I don't think he's going to be on.
Who was sick?
Dylan?
Oh, he's still sick?
Yeah.
Does he have the virus, or does he just sick?
I think he's just sick.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Professor Stanley.
Ow. Where is the rest of my class?
Everybody's going.
Everybody's gone. Where are they gone? Where can you go?
I don't know where everyone's at.
I know.
I'll take Dylan.
You can't go anywhere. We're all stuck. Stefan, are you giving us like a scenic tour of the house?
I'm trying to find it because I'm at grandma's house.
Oh, okay.
I spent the night over at my grandma's because I was bored. I'm trying to find a space to go to that's quiet.
No, well, good luck with that. He's found a corner. All right. Well, I guess we'll start. All three of us. It'll be a short conversation. Wait, hold on. Who entered? Mason entered.
I couldn't find the link for some reason.
Okay. Well, it's the same link as last week and the same link as the week before.
I couldn't find it. I don't know why.
You go on the Eastfire. It's there. You grab
I
it.
emailed you, so I don't know.
When?
Like a couple minutes ago.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Yeah. It's good now.
It's okay because Stefan was walking through his grandmother's house trying to find a quiet spot. So we were checking out his decor, correct?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And now he's like decided that the only place in the entire house is on the floor.
That makes sense.
All right. So did you guys do the homework? Can we discuss it?
Yep.
Okay. So did you guys find a Morning Joe to watch?
I only kind of found like highlights. That was it.
Okay.
I couldn't find any full episodes.
Yeah, I found highlights as well.
Huh. Okay. So in the highlights, did you see any mentions of Starbucks?
Yes, and the question was, did you find it intrusive or not? I said it seemed to be very useful, and I'm aware of a lot of people who drink coffee, and I feel like the brand found the perfect use for it to be within.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right.
So you thought it was been basically people drink coffee in the morning. So run that by me again.
Oh, I said it was very useful, and I'm aware of a lot of people who drink coffee in the morning. So I feel like that during the highlight that I was watching, it seemed to be, the brand was actually, sorry, I just kind of woke up. the brand, it was good.
So you thought the tie-in between morning coffee, not bad.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
If it was too intrusive or not.
Yeah.
I kind of thought like it was kind of a good strategy, but kind of intrusive. Like it didn't really make me want to go get Starbucks. But that could be just because I'm not really a coffee drinker. So I mean, I don't know. That little snippet that you put on eSpire was pretty good, though. How you kind of need a cup of coffee to watch the news every morning. It just kind of goes together.
So that was actually, yeah, and that's actually interesting. So the article was basically the chief marketing officer saying, they were asking him, why in the world this partnership? And he kind of said exactly that. Everybody needs a cup of coffee to get started in the morning. Why not promote Starbucks?
Mm-hmm.
Mason,
Yes.
thoughts?
The ones that I watched, like I tried to watch the one this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and all they talked about was the coronavirus. Like I did not see one thing of coffee.
Well, you have to look at the older ones. Remember that the assignment actually said that you have to look at the older ones because the relationship has been cut off. But they basically, so this morning it was all about coronavirus. Were they even drinking a different coffee?
No, they had nothing on their desks. No, nothing that I saw.
Although I'm not sure anybody would have an open coffee.
But also, they might not have it because maybe they're doing most of their work from home.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I didn't see any desks. It looked like it was fake backgrounds, too. So they could all be just sitting in front of green screens. So
Right.
that's probably why I didn't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't even find any like actual past episodes either. It kept popping up like 2020 dates and like 2018 and like nothing from like 2010 or 2011.
Okay, so feedback on the assignment is I need to give an exact link.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, well, it was an experiment on an assignment. Normally it would have been a totally different assignment, but unfortunately I didn't think, get 3 newspapers and examine all the ads and it was really going to work. So I had to change the assignment. And this one sounded really interesting when I was looking at it, but I didn't, oh well. All right, so look, we're talking about the concept, the notion of having a actual news program sponsored by a brand. Not like the ads, like the normal thing, but they sponsor it. What do you guys think of that concept?
Maybe in like 2010, it was kind of like a radical thing, but I think today there's so many sponsorships everywhere. Like literally every YouTube video I watch has a sponsorship, and they start out the video by saying, "Oh, check out this brand. They're paying for this video today." So maybe back then it was really interesting, but I think today it's just another sponsorship. Like I don't see what's special about it now.
Okay, well, I think that the issue is that the news has always been a tad bit hands-off. In other words, there have always been ads on the news programs, but like when you watch CBS, you watch NBC, you watch Fox, or I don't know what else you watch, but I'm just giving the big ones out. ABC, I don't know. They're ads, but they aren't sponsored. In other words, there's a huge difference between ad space, which the newscaster has no clue what the ads are, the journalist, and a physical journalist knowing that this is sponsored by somebody. And I think that's the difference. And you are correct that when you think about YouTube and you think about influencers, they're sponsored. But does that change the ability of a journalist to be objective?
To an extent, maybe, but I don't know that Starbucks coffee is that big of a topic. Maybe if Starbucks gave them money and said you have to align with our values, it would be like a little iffy because journalists are supposed to be completely, detached from the situation. But I just don't see how Starbucks coffee could like sway them one way or another unless they're openly saying you have to align with what we're saying. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. The big question is that this is kind of this was a little bit hands off until they did this. Just to keep perspective, this was the first sponsorship of a news program in the United States. I don't know what happened in the rest of the world. Now you're right. It's coffee. It's kind of a good tie-in. What if it had been Dunkin' Donuts, where you had coffee plus donuts? Would that have been a different message?
No. I'm just like detached from, like, I don't care what's sponsored by who unless it has a direct impact on what they're reporting.
Okay, now keep in mind, donuts are rather high in fat, right?
Yeah.
So would that affect them talking about obesity or diabetes?
I would hope not. That would be unethical on the journalist's part.
But it could, couldn't it?
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, that's where Starbucks seems kind of ambiguous to us. But if it had been something that had a health issue, or let's say coffee all of a sudden was found to be bad for you,
Mm-hmm.
would that news program be able to actually talk about that if Starbucks had been the sponsor?
Probably not. They'd probably avoid that story.
And is that necessarily what we want in news?
No.
Now, I know we could all insert Fox into this conversation and it would be a totally different conversation, but let's just stick with this for right now. We do have news that does have somewhat they have certain types of leanings, but it isn't necessarily the same as influenced. This would be influencing by a particular brand. What did you guys think about the comment that I know that a few of you mentioned the CEO the chief marketing officer saying, yeah, you need coffee in the morning, we're sponsoring it. It's as easy as that. But literally every single thing they would say, sponsored by Starbucks, sponsored by Starbucks, sponsored by Starbucks. In theory, Starbucks got a lot of bang for their buck out of that.
Yeah.
And then, the mugs that they were holding would have been Starbucks mugs. What do you think about those subliminal messages? We talked about movie placements. Are there subliminal messages just with even coffee?
Yeah. I don't know if the subliminal message is like negative. It's just buy our coffee.
No, I'm not saying that there's nothing negative or positive about it. It's literally, can you think of any other brand that could do a sponsorship of like a news program and get away with it without causing any trouble?
It would have to be like a clothing brand, I think, because it's so in the background. I think just about anything else kind of stands out. I mean, if you saw a Nike logo on a news reporter, like they got jackets, rain jackets because he's covering a storm or something, and you see a little Nike logo, I think you'd be like, hey, that's a nice jacket. That's a Nike jacket. And then we'd move on. And that's kind of like what like in my mind when I see like a Starbucks cup. They're drinking Starbucks, But I don't really think too much about it because I know that the person that's actually drinking the Starbucks doesn't benefit at all. It's probably a higher up that benefits from it. Mm-hmm. So they're just doing what they're told. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that kind of little advertising doesn't bother me too much. I mean, if they came out and they had like kazoos or something and they had to blow them every 20 minutes, then it would be like, well, you know what I mean? But anything that's like kind of subtle, I sometimes my mind doesn't even pick up on it until after. I'm like, why am I thinking about that jacket? And then I'm like, that was a Nike jacket. That's what I was thinking about. It's a nice jacket. So, I don't know.
What are the two of you who've been fairly quiet? Joe? Stefan?
One thing that stuck out to me was when it came to product placement, was watching The Hangover. I know we all watched that movie. Well, I don't know about Professor Stanley, but I've watched that movie over and over and over and over. And Louis Vuitton, a popular clothing brand, purse brand, all that, they had sued the production company that made the movie because it was bad product placement. They felt as if the movie didn't pretty much support what they believed in, and So they got sued. I think it was the movie made 600 billion or something like that, and Louis Vuitton got like a couple million from it. But I feel as if Starbucks doesn't really have to worry about that because, like you said, the brand is everywhere. It's on every corner, so on every street corner. So it's like not a big impact as far as like Louis Vuitton brand to like actually are kind of for a certain range gap. Yeah, range gap of people. Like I personally don't know anybody. Well, I know one person in my family that has Louis Vuitton, but I don't know a lot of people that just have the brand or something. So they kind of have to protect their image all the time. I feel like Starbucks is like, if we hit it or miss it with this sponsorship, it is what it is. Or if someone notices, it's not a big impact. But a brand like Louis Vuitton, they kind of have to like walking on eggshells.
Okay, so it kind of the niche brands have a harder time than the mass brands, is what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
So the Nike, which is more of a mass brand, didn't have as much big a deal. If a newscaster's wearing that and they're in a storm, great, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you do notice that, like whenever there's a hurricane, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that, but whenever there's a hurricane, everybody's wearing their little shirts with a little news thing on the side, and then the other side is literally somebody's brand, right? It's either Nike or for a while, believe it or not, Patagonia was huge, right? So it's Patagonia or something that, would be weather-wise. And, every so often I'd look at it and be like, oh, well, he looks kind of dry. Maybe that raincoat really does work. But, yeah, you're right. That's not a negative. I think that's back to when you get into a movie, you got to make sure the movie fits your brand. Yeah. And that's the trick, right? And sometimes you think the movie's going to fit the brand, and then you find out, maybe it didn't fit my brand quite as well as I think. What about the notion of news and the fact that news programs nowadays are considered kind of either liberal, or they're considered very conservative? Does that affect the audience? Like, for instance, if you were Starbucks, which news program might you pick? How would you not alienate part of your audience? How safe is it for Starbucks today to pick to sponsor something? Would it cause trouble?
I think it might cause, I don't know if it would cause trouble, but for sure it would cause some people to be like, oh, they support conservative values, I don't want to give them my money, or they support liberal values, I don't want to give them my money, type thing. So, which happens a lot right now. Like, you find out that a company is being ran by a certain person, and maybe that person made a statement, a political statement, and it backfires on their sales or their performance.
Okay, so like the natural kind of yin and yang of news these days is Fox versus everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you were to be Starbucks and you were to sponsor Fox News, what message would that send to the population of Starbucks users?
That you align with conservative values.
Okay, so let's flip it around. Let's say you were to sponsor, what's the morning show on NBC?
MSNBC or something like that? No, that's something else.
MSNBC, or what is it, the morning show, whatever it is. Okay, let's say whatever that morning show is. What message would that send to the population as a whole?
I'm liberal, so I just care that they're not
No, Corona thing has really gotten me kind of funked out about this, because all of a sudden I've realized that there's totally two different scripts going on, literally. So, like I'll talk on the phone, and my mother will you have to realize my mother has memory problems. So my mother will parrot whatever she hears on the news. So if Fox happens to be on, because that's my stepfather's favorite thing to watch, she will parrot them. And then I will give her the opposing view, and then she'll parrot mine back. And then it's actually kind of interesting to observe. But the point is that it does cause trouble. And I think that may be part of why Starbucks decided maybe they wanted to get out of the business, because they did sever the agreement, and there doesn't seem to be any information about why. Why do you think maybe they did? my hypothesis is that they didn't want to be associated with anything. You know, this is when everybody started spitting out the liberal media and the fake news and what were the other 4 or 5 sound bites about the news?
I just remember fake news.
Fake
Yeah.
news is a big one, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't want to even be associated with news.
Honestly, I don't know how else to say this, but like I was raised around conservatives, not like my family, but being from Tonganoxie, Kansas, you know, that's what you see, that's what you hear on school all the time. Not my family, that's not how they think, honestly. But conservatives seem to not care. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like most of the time advertisements that are little are placed on liberal sites rather than conservative sites because the liberals will notice more than the conservatives will. I don't want to say that they're more sensitive because they're not. They might be more sensitive to social issues. They're more aware to them. You know what I mean? But I feel like if you're going to advertise, you should advertise on the liberal side because people really take that into account. Conservatives half the time don't seem to even
Okay,
really.
so are you saying there's more of an activism mentality and thus
Yeah.
they would be more likely to either buy or not buy based on it versus on the conservative side, maybe there's not as much of an activism?
I think it's easier to enrage a liberal based on the fact that they have progressive ideas and not ideas that have already been around for the last 2, 3, 4, 500 years. Conservatives are pretty, they want what they want, you know what I mean? And so I think if you throw a bone at them, they're gonna, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So
Move out of the way.
yeah, so I don't really know how else to. I think you kind of maybe understand what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm wording it properly, but basically I think it's easier. I think liberals are more aware. I guess I should say. I think they have more of a sense of what's going on in the world. And
I think they're
conservatives
like,
care once their values feel like they're in jeopardy. So
I think you mean like more receptive would be like a really good word for what you're describing.
yes, receptive. Yes.
Yeah, that's actually that's a very good word. So when we're talking about news program, that is one of the hands-off journalism environments, right? So up until this Morning Joe, there had never really been any advertising sponsorship type of thing with a news program. Now that's probably not totally true because my guess is that if you were to back it up 100 years or 200 years, you probably could find somebody. I'm sure that but this was the higher profile. Now the book also talked about others, right? Like Instagram and a lot of social media. What did you guys think about the whole notion of the fact that originally there was no regulation and the sponsorship was just kind of happened on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever social media you choose. Basically, if you were sponsored, you were sponsored and you didn't have to disclose to your audience at all.
I kind of liked it that way, but I feel as if now it's just like the world, I wouldn't say is sensitive, but I feel like Mason said, it's more, everybody's more aware of like how brands relay messages and stuff like that. So I feel as if like you kind of have to keep us in a loop with certain stuff now. Like we have to know what the intent was, why they sponsored, and all that.
But and here's the kind of the pro and the con, right? So we looked at movie placements, and in movies, is there any disclosure?
No.
But on Instagram or Snapchat, does there have to be disclosure? Now, yeah. Has anybody, now that they've read this chapter, like noticed any disclosure on any? I mean, I say you just mentioned somebody that you noticed that there was some disclosure on something you were watching on YouTube, was it?
Yeah, I watch a ton of YouTube and I follow like all of my favorite YouTubers on Instagram and they all post, I mean, they'll start off the video by saying, oh, like check out Audible or check out this fake tan, they sponsored whatever. So it's very normal for me. It doesn't really even stand out. If it's something that I'm interested in, I'll listen to like the little bit where they're talking about it, and if not, I'll just skip through that part of the video.
But you did notice that they do call out their sponsorships.
Yeah, they claim them pretty much in every video. And I think that goes like both ways. Like obviously they need to let the audience know that the video is sponsored. But then also like the company gets more attention that way. So
That's a good point.
It benefits both of them. Instead of just having like a random like fake tan in the background, they say, oh, this video is sponsored by this fake tan and I really like it because this, and this. You guys should check it out. Or here's my link to it or whatever.
It does allow for a very clear advertisement, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before you'd have to kind of slip it in like, I got this fake tan. Oh, let me show you me putting it on. Oh, product. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas now you just say it point blankly. What did you guys think about it at all? Did anybody notice it a little bit more? I noticed it a little bit more when the product is like placed in a picture, like on Snapchat, like the picture that they'll have the sponsorship in there.
I follow a lot of athletes on Twitter and Instagram, and I notice anytime that they have an ad, you know what I mean? No one's for Nike, whatever, but they'll have to do hashtag ad.
Right.
They'll put that in there. Or like I literally have no life right now, so like I'll watch people play video games because it's kind of entertaining, and so I'll watch on Twitch streams, and they'll be like sponsored streams. So it'll be like gaming with my friends. Go buy a Reese's hashtag ads. Like that'll be the title of the stream. And every 20 minutes or so, they'll like pull out a Reese's and they'll be like, here's what I'm getting sponsored by today. And then they'll drop it and they move on. You know what I mean? So I don't think if you were just a normal person that you'd be like, man, this is annoying because it's just kind of like subtle. Like they throw it in every 20 minutes or so. And so I do notice the hashtag ad on Twitter all the time though. With all the athletes that I follow, it's just about once a day. So
has anybody noticed one that didn't have a hashtag ad and now you're like, wait a second?
I haven't. I don't see like what you would get out of it.
Extra credit if you can find one.
I saw athletes that are like fully decked out, like head to toe, like Adidas hat, Adidas shirt, Adidas jacket, Adidas shoes. You know what I mean? You can tell like it's very subtle. You know, they have a contract with Adidas probably that says they have to wear Adidas in public or in pictures, but it's still subtle advertising. And I see that a lot. So does that like count?
That's an interesting question because athletic sponsorships aren't really disclosed, are they?
But that's also kind of like iffy because is the actual athlete sponsored or is the whole franchise sponsored?
Well, it depends,
and does
doesn't
that make a difference on how they disclose?
Okay, let's take like a golfer because they're easier because they're not like necessarily a franchise. Like Tiger. Tiger's sponsored by
Nike.
You got it. Okay, so we know that because we see Nike ads. But if we didn't see Nike ads with Tiger, would we know that? We would just see Tiger wearing Nike.
Honestly, no, that's like not what my brain goes to because it's like they have to wear some kind of athletic gear.
True.
They have to buy some brand, and why not buy Nike because it's a dominant brand, you know?
But it does bring up the whole notion of disclosure, and that is kind of where we are as a world, is disclosing if somebody pays you money.
Mm-hmm.
Athletes don't necessarily, which is a really good point. Mason, they don't really disclose it, but pretty much all the gamers and everybody always discloses it. But if we can find one that doesn't, and you know who's notorious is fashion. Fashion, makeup, those people are notorious for not doing their sponsorships because they'll have like 25 different products or a cooking show, and sometimes they forget.
So what about like Kylie Jenner? Like that's her own brand. You know what I mean? Like, does she have to put hashtag ad if it's her?
I don't know. Does she? And when I read the rules, I could not find anything that indicated that. And in the book, it doesn't really say if it's your own. Aren't you in theory?
You're just advertising for yourself.
You're advertising yourself.
I mean, you're not paying yourself to advertise. I wouldn't assume.
No. I think it's only if you get. Yeah, let's check it out. I think it's only if you get paid. Like, for instance, if you're being paid by somebody else to do something.
One interesting thing that I found out was within YouTube videos, these ads will pop up.
Right.
Unless you have like YouTube Premium or whatever. But whenever the video is playing along, there's like these 5-second to 10-second ads that I usually skip. But those YouTube ads, they sponsor the video and they pay the YouTubers. That was interesting to me.
Right. You can amateurize a YouTube ad. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Do
can.
they choose exactly what brands are, like what ads go to what videos, or is it just like a random generator where it's like
I think it's a random generator. So it's
Yeah.
like whatever. So say like Colgate was sponsoring this girl who does makeup. The Colgate gives the girl who sells makeup like a percentage of their profit.
Mhm.
I think it's like that.
I think that you can, when you buy a YouTube ad, specify the category. So like, for instance, when you go onto YouTube and you're looking up different things, like things have categories as you post them. So it might be fashion, or it may be beauty, or it could be whatever. Colgate could pick to buy ads in beauty. But that's about it.
So this guy, Ninja, is sponsored by Adidas. And
Okay.
he's a gamer. And he's constantly posting stuff like this, and it says, "New Yeezys, what do you guys think?" And there's no ad. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can kind of
came
see
from
it.
the shoes.
Yeah.
So it's like an ad, but it's not an ad because he's flaunting shoes that were clearly given to him. Like,
Yeah,
he
I
didn't
think
need
that
to-
may be questionable. He could get himself into trouble.
Yeah, because it doesn't say ad. It doesn't say really anything. It just says New Yeezys, and it's 2 pairs of brand new shoes. And unless he paid $700 for them from a company that he's sponsored by,
Yeah, chances are. So
yeah.
what do you think about this notion of there's a whole bunch of opportunities of places that were not necessarily part of the scheme of advertising that now is? Cute cat.
Thank you.
What do you guys think in general? Do you think that it's okay to do? Obviously.
I think it's smart.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think it's smart too.
there, in any given day, like, I'm gonna go back to streaming. I guess there could be like 2 to 3 million people watching people play video games at any point in time, and it's so easy to subtly throw your product. Like, I got 2 football helmets right there. If I moved them a little bit closer, you might be able to see what brand they are, and nobody would think twice about it. It's just what I have in my room.
Right.
And I see a lot of streamers with backgrounds that have like decorative backgrounds, and you can see stuff hanging from it and different products. And one had like a Cowboys football helmet in the background. So
Well, look at Joe. Joe's an advertisement for K-State.
Yeah, like
See
that.
it in the back. Yep.
Yeah.
Then
And say you're wearing a. Oh,
KU.
look. Oh, she's got the KU on. Woohoo! The rest of us are just. Oh, wait. You've got
I used to
Under
have
Armour.
Under Armour. Yeah.
See, Marcus, we
no,
can't even
okay.
see you. We have no clue what you're doing.
He's probably sleeping.
Yeah, he's probably asleep. So, any questions about this week? Did you guys think it was interesting?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
okay.
It was interesting.
It opened my eyes to like different types of subtle advertisement. I feel like none of it was really in your face, and I feel like if it was in your face, you get in trouble. Like if this news broadcaster is like, "Hey, drink a Starbucks, cheers!" like right to the camera, then I feel like it would have probably been like, "Hey, what are you doing?" They were just simply drinking their coffee.
Yeah, it did make sense, didn't it? Yeah. And I did notice that I don't know, I was making dinner and there was like one of these talent shows on. I can't remember which one it was. And they were all drinking Coke. So Coke must be the sponsor. Next week is all about AverGames. Advertisements that are games.
All right.
Woohoo! And the assignments are pretty much all about finding games that are based on advertisement. Now, this, of course, associates very closely to kids advertising, as you can probably guess. But it should be an interesting conversation because it'll be all about whether or not we think it's ethical to do what they're doing. Any questions? Any
Did you-
concerns?
So tonight, the chapter 12 advertising previously, is that the discussion or do we have to turn in the paper, like a paper?
Let me take a look because I don't, hold on. I'm pulling it up right now. This week,
Oh crap, I didn't do the reading log.
all right, there you guys are. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So this week, you guys had the discussion, and then you had the reading log.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, accepting late work, say no problem. And then we had the introduction, which was I'm in the wrong one. Sorry. Let's try the right week. Okay, so here we are, introduction. And then here we are, the reading log. And then here is the discussion. Here we are right here. And then yes, you do need to hand in your thoughts right here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, just upload them. And then we will move on.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay.
Any concerns about the way this class is going?
There's just a lot of assignments.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Forums, I have those in like almost all my classes. They just get annoying. Not that I'm saying they're annoying in this class, but just saying like
It's okay, don't worry
In
about it.
general, when you
Oh,
have
it's
6
just-
classes and 6 classes have discussion forums, it's like,
yes, I hate that
Why
so
am-
much.
I just don't know how to be productive in those. I'd much rather have like 2 Zoom calls and just talk about it for
And talk
30
about it, yeah.
minutes. Like this
Yes.
is me, I enjoy this way more and I get way more out of it than typing a few words and then picking 2 people's to read and replying something really
And
short.
some
But
people
obviously,
do it so late, it's like or they'll just write some comment, and I'm just like, what do I reply to this if they didn't try?